Hello students, welcome again in our today's video lesson. In the last video lesson we have discussed up to the page number 95, 96 up to 96, okay? Characteristics of chemical reaction we have seen. In our online class we have already completed up to the types of chemical reaction, but the video has not been uploaded of this portion. So today I am going to give you some descriptions from page number 97 in this video. Here the first topic is the condition necessary for chemical reaction. As all of you know that in class 7 you have already studied these conditions. First of all, for a chemical reaction to take place, we have to perform some special conditions, otherwise the reaction doesn't happen. First is the close contact. Conditions for chemical reaction is the first is close contact. Conditions for chemical reaction. Okay. First condition is the close contact. Close contact means we have to bring the substances of reactant close to each other. When you bring them close to each other, actually they sometimes react, not always. So what happened for some spontaneous reactions, like ammonia comes in contact with hydrochloric acid, NH3 plus HCl, it gives ammonium chloride. So it will immediately fumes, okay, to form. If the highly reactive sodium metal comes in contact with air, it is explosive. So that's why sodium is kept in a kerosene oil. Iron also gets rusted when it comes in contact with moist air. Lime turns milky when it comes in contact with carbon dioxide. Okay, so carbon dioxide is converted into carbonic acid when it comes in contact with water. Okay, so there are so many reactions happens when they come close to each other. All skin allergy reaction, dyes, hair color, paints are example of direct contact. Second is the physical state of reactant. Physical state of reactant. Physical state means, either solid, liquid or gas. Physical state. Second is the physical state of the reactants. Okay, so in this physical state of the reactant, certain substances react when they are in the solid state, liquid state, or in molten state sometime, if they are not in react in solid state. Okay, so suppose sodium chloride or molten sodium chloride does. Sodium chloride solution react in aqueous solution, means aqueous state, silver nitrate solution, forms a white precipitate of silver chloride. If the silver nitrate is in solid state, the reaction does not happen. So this is the way we have to see the state of the some reactant also. Suppose just now I told you, silver nitrate in a solid state, it will not react with sodium chloride solution, but if you take all the silver nitrate solution, it will react to form silver chloride as PPT, white PPT is formed. This is also an example of precipitation reaction. Next is the surface area of the contact. Third point is surface area of the reactants. Surface area of reactant means what? means you have to increase the area. Higher, more the area, higher will be the rate of reaction. So if you try to dissolve some lumps of sugar in water and some poured sugar, powdered sugar in water, we'll observe that powdered sugar will dissolve more faster than the uh, cubes of or crystals of sugar or lumps of sugar. This is because the surface area of the powdered sugar is more than that of the sugar in lumps or crystals form. Similarly, if zinc metal, if you take in for reaction with a dilute HCl, the formation of hydrogen gas is very slow process, you will see. But if you take instead of zinc metal directly, if you take the zinc granules, means powder form or zinc shavings, what you will see, the reaction is more faster because the surface area of zinc shavings or zinc gravels are more than that of the zinc metal. Okay. Next point is the heat energy. Heat energy is also required for some reaction. Fourth point is heat energy. You have already studied this heat energy because sometime during a reaction we need to heat to in a decomposition reaction. Also you have seen heating is important. If you don't heat or you pass electricity, the reaction does not happen or reactant does not decompose to form a constant products. Suppose if you want to react copper with H2SO4, as in all of copper is less reactive than hydrogen, it will not displace and the reaction is very slow. But if you heat this mixture, what you will see, the reaction will happens to form copper sulfate, then sulfur dioxide with water. Similarly, iron sulfide is found when iron and iron fillings and sulfur is mixed together and heated, then iron sulfide is. So here also heat is required for the reaction. So the reaction where heat energy is required to perform a reaction is called endothermic reaction. Similarly, if you want to decompose copper carbonate, we need to heat it. It will gives you copper oxide and carbon dioxide as a gaseous form. So here heat is required. Next is light energy. It is very also an important part. Light energy. Fifth point is light energy also required. This light energy generally we see it in the process of photosynthesis. Very common example is the photosynthesis, where sunlight is required, where plants trap sunlight with the help of chlorophylls. They take carbon dioxide and water from the soil to form glucose and oxygen. Okay, so this is a chemical reaction because here we can see that sunlight is required for photosynthesis. Similarly, hydrogen will also combine with chlorine if you put it in the sunlight to form hydrochloric gas. Okay, so it is also here we can see heat energy, sunlight is required, and so many other examples are also there. Suppose photoelectric cell work on the principle of this lifts, automatic doors, street lights, and many other gadgets function in the presence of sunlight. So sunburn is again a typical example if you study in biology about these things. And there are a large number of compounds which are stored in a dark colored bottles to avoid the reaction in sunlight. So here we see that light is also required for some time to perform a chemical reaction. Next and the last next point is the electricity that we have already studied. Electricity is required. 6th point is electricity. Again, this is a very common example where electricity is required to perform. This reaction is called electrolysis process. We have seen for the separation of hydrogen and oxygen from water, we have to pass electricity. If you want to decompose NaCl into sodium and chlorine, you have to take molten state of sodium chloride and pass electricity. They will decompose to form sodium and chlorine. So there are for electrolysis process always we have to need a molten state again. So again we see that state is required. The physical state of the reactant is also important here. Either in molten state or in aqueous state, we have to take the electrolyte through which electricity is passed. But to decompose water, since pure water is bad conductor of electricity, so for that reason we need here to add acidulated water is best. Okay, so if you put few drops of acid like HCl, it will easily conduct electricity and you can decompose water to form hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, so decomposition is always for molten sodium chloride, aluminum oxide, lead bromide, formation of ozones are all examples where we see electricity is required. So here electricity, we need a battery, not a high voltage electricity is required here. So electrochemical reactions, these reactants will be converted into electrical energy and chemical energy and vice versa. In storage battery, you know. Next is the pressure. Again here pressure is also very important. For the example is pressure. You have seen the formation of ammonia gas. Hydrogen and nitrogen react under the pressure of 200 atmospheric pressure. Here that pressure is required. Similarly, if you want to form carbonic acid with water and carbon dioxide is mixed with water in high pressure, then it will form very easily. So we say that the fizzy drinks in carbonic acids. So similarly, sulfur, charcoal and potassium nitrate mixture is also used to form explosive. These explosives are also bind together in a very high pressure. So they when they blast, they give a loud sound. Noise comes out under the pressure. Okay. Next is the catalyst, very common thing. This is the catalyst. Catalysts, these are very important things. Means the substance which alter the rate of reactions without itself taking part in a chemical reaction. They are called catalysts. Here we have catalysts can be further classified as two types: positive catalyst and negative catalyst. Positive catalyst means they are called promoters, means they speed up the rate of reaction. Catalysts are further divided into two types. One is positive and another one is negative catalyst. Positive means they are also called promoters, means they speed up the rate of reaction, and negative catalysts are called inhibitors, means they slow down the rate of reaction. We can see so many examples. We have also seen in class 7 about these things. So for decomposition of hydrogen peroxide, we need manganese oxide. Here manganese oxide has a positive catalyst to decompose water and oxygen. And for similar reaction, for the similar decomposition of hydrogen peroxide, we can also take a negative catalyst as phosphoric acid. Okay, so phosphoric acid is a negative catalyst to decompose hydrogen peroxide to form water and oxygen, whereas manganese dioxide is act as a positive catalyst to speed up the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide to form water and oxygen. Okay, so these are the chemical which have it's an inhibitors, not inhibitors. Spelling is inhibitors. Okay. Some another next point is some biological catalysts. You have also learned in biology that some catalysts are biological catalysts which help in the control and coordination of our body systems. Supposed to speed up the chemical reactions in the body without getting consumed. The chemicals such as faster rate are called enzymes or the catalysts. For example, enzymes speed up the process of digestion in 2 to 3 hours, whereas it has been decayed digested food we eat. Okay. Some examples of biological catalysts are given in the chart, and you can see we have in page number 100. First one is to decompose carbohydrate. We need have a amylase present in our saliva, which simplified to after digestion is called glucose, simple sugar. Protein, to digest protein we need pepsin. It is produced in stomach. It changes the protein as to amino acid. And next is the lipase, is produced in the small intestine. It acts as to digest the fats to form fatty acids. Some other biological catalysts also there, like trypsin, insulin, which are produced in our small intestine, which also alter the formation of sugar in our blood. Okay, which control the level of sugar in our blood. Okay, so these are biological catalysts. So other examples also that you have studied in your biology. Okay, so this is about the conditions necessary for chemical reaction to happen. So I think you have understood what I have taught now. So please watch the video. If you not attended your online class, I definitely think this will help you. Thank you, student. See you again in the next video class and online class. Thank you very much.